How today went?
I thought it was a very good day. There's a ton of work we got in there. As you saw, just the excitement and it's the last day of camp. School starts tomorrow, and then we go into our regular, in season and our class schedule as we were going to have to navigate all of that. So this was the last one. It had to be a great one, and the weather was perfect. The day ended up being perfect. I thought they played really, really inspired, emotional football today, and there's a lot of really good things that we saw on film.
You've had some veteran teams at Holy Cross, and how you compare this one with so many new guys where you didn't necessarily have that in the past as far as where they are in camp ready for game one? Do you feel like they're ahead of schedule, behind schedule, right where you need to be?
That's an interesting question. I think that, when you think back to, see, the thing with those veteran teams is you were in the scheme for multiple years with them. So there was not like a learning curve that you were able to start going to like this upper 10% that you don't typically get to in the playbook. And, this is a little different because we're still in the process of learning. There's things we're doing today that we were finally on the last install that we needed to see, especially defensively and some special teams. So it's really hard to complain or compare. I would say that the difference is the maturity at which this whole group does it. There's those fifth and sixth year guys here, and they know their days are numbered, and I just love watching them compete every day. It doesn't always go their way, but they see the bigger picture, I guess, is the best way to say it. And they certainly understand that there's a tomorrow. There's not too many left, but there's a tomorrow, and I am directly responsible for the outcomes of what happens tomorrow. All right. And I think that's cool to watch them go through, navigate, and educate the younger guys on.
Do you like where your team's at those? You're 11 days away?
Yeah, I really do. I think there is a ton there's not a lot that we have to, get through right now. There's just things that we have to do again and again. You want to make sure that there's at least 3 different touches on it, and you want to make sure that there's a pressure situation involved with it as well, so that you know how it reacts under fire. And that's I'm talking about, does the scheme hold up? Does the special teams hold up? All the things that come with it, do they hold up by being executed by these guys while tested in fire? That's really what these final weeks or final days are going to come down to.
Coach, what are you kind of looking for these last couple weeks of camp in terms of, it seems like it's kind of like separation times in terms of who's your ones, who's your rotational pieces? What does kind of that separation look like and what you're looking for?
I think it's just, we got to just watch the film of it and just keep saying, we have a general idea of what guys are really good at. What we're trying to do is strengthen weaknesses right now and be able to put them in situations. We know what they can do. We got to figure out what they can't do. And then can we move the needle and fix that and turn it into something that they then can do? That's ultimately the question right now for us, is we don't want to put someone out there that can only do X when they have to do Y and Z. So we're trying to strengthen weaknesses at this moment, and we're scripting that way. We're putting them in situations that way to make sure that they can execute those things, when it matters most. Maybe things that they failed at prior, did they learn, and are they ready to go? So it's ultimately not about, just the ones and twos. It's about how great are the ones at everything we do? How great are the twos at everything we do? Where are they lacking? Can we move the needle to get that to be a strength for us? And if not, then we got to keep them out of those situations. And then we start the conversation. Are they really the 2? Then are they the 3? And there's another kid pushing. So there's just constant juggling going on. Then you're going to have some injuries. Then you're going to have some things where guys just have to sit out based on the amount of reps they played previously. So it's, again, I said it before, but the COVID piece taught us that you're never a final product. You're never walking and saying, that's our 11, we're great. We got to make sure that we're 3 and 4 deep in positions and that we have them ready to go. And I think we're in a good 2 deep right now. We got to continue to work on the 3, the 4, and find what the 2 is weak at, so we don't cost ourselves a game.
You mentioned classes starting next week, or tomorrow rather. Just does it feel like it's starting to get a little bit more real just with the game week next week? And are the guys starting to get antsy, you think, with?
No, I think that now you're just in a situation where distractions show up. Before we were pro football players, that we were the only ones on campus. We were just worried about football meetings, dining hall, that kind of thing that comes with it. Now you have classes. Now you have other people in your dorms. Now you have a lot of other distractions that come about. Before we had to create the distractions, and I think we did a good job of not doing that. But now we actually, there are distractions out there. So we got to do a good job of keeping our eye on the prize, stay focused, and just continue to battle every day. But yeah, it feels like the energy's picking up around campus. Just as you drive around, there's more people here, and obviously, tonight in the pep rally, I think we'll have a pretty good, indication of what that young freshman class looks like and how excited they are to participate on game day.
And could you talk a little bit more about the running back room, what you've been seeing the past few days and today as well?
Yeah, more of the same, man. It's really more of the same. They're really doing a great job. You know, you see them just as I do. They're all very capable. There's 4, maybe 5 in there that we think that can help us. And I even think you want to talk about some of the guys that had weaknesses, turning them into strengths. I think you watch Joby out there the past couple of days. He's just really changed and done a whole bunch of different things that we weren't really sure that he was capable of. So even there's a lot of depth in that room, and it's exciting.
How do you try to work on you and Coach Sims with substituting in-game in terms of getting all those backs involved and mixing in different persons?
Yeah, that's still a work in progress right now, right? And we're not there yet in how we're going to navigate that. I know how we've done it in the past. We just need a little bit more, of understanding of just how, great these guys are at certain things. There's so many good ones in there. It's not a finished product where we're just making that decision just yet, but that is something that is coming up on the horizon.
I also wanted to ask you how important it is for you to have a locker room of guys that feel comfortable to talk to you about anything.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what it's been. I think you saw the other day we had benches out here, and then just sitting on the bench and have guys come sit next to you and have those deeper conversations when they need them. And then our doors are every coach, though. That's every coach on the staff. When we assembled this staff, we did not do it with this is just a great football coach, but he's a really bad person. We did not look at that at all. Like I said before, competence was big, but connection was even bigger, right? And then their chemistry and their character. How do we work together, and what type of people are they around your kids or around these kids when no one else is around? And that's really important. So I love that that's what our staff's built on, and that's something that will always be part of any program I'm involved in.
Do you think it's more important now in the first year of regime change?
Yeah, I think so, and I think it's even more important now with so many young guys on this team that are about to try to navigate classes, meeting times, film, lifts, nutrition, sleep, all those things. They need guidance from the older guys on our team, but they also need it from their position coach to identify when someone's slipping a little bit and make sure that they're there for them, not only on the field, but physically and mentally off the field, and that's what we pride ourselves on.
In terms of making sure you have the depth like you were talking about earlier, how much longer are you expecting to really rotate guys through 1s, 2s, and 3s and 4s?
So, I mean, what do you mean by rotate? Because everything we do is 2 huddles. So our 1s are our 2s, and then realistically our 3s are our 2s. So when I go through the math on it, when we look at the reps and the stat, they're taking exact same amount of reps as they go through everything. So there's not like a 1 or a 2, and we're just, moving it around of how that, and everybody's a little bit different. We're trying to figure out between those 2 huddles, they're getting the exact same play, and we are going to rotate the O-line in game. So we need to have that be the norm as we navigate this. So I think when we do our rep count at the end of each day or before each day, and then at the end checking it out, the 1s are getting the exact same reps and the same amounts as the 2s, and I think that's a product of just the way we practice.
Is that something you're expecting to carry into the regular season and throughout?
Definitely, yeah. For O-line, D-line, linebackers, DBs, receivers, every which way we look at it. Running back, we want to be able to have depth in each of those positions and use that as needed.